खता की होती है कोई ना कोई सजा.
The morning sun rays were coming through the window, forming a beautiful golden hue on the couple on the bed, snuggling so closer to each other that their breaths were mingling with each other's. The duvet was wrapped around them, giving them the needed warmth. Slowly her eyes fluttered open, the gentle warmth of the sun feeling like a soft caress against her skin. For a moment, she just lay there, taking in the peaceful silence of the room. Then the 27-year-old woman's eyes landed on her husband's sleeping face. The 30-year-old man was looking ethereal with the soft sun kissing his face. Who would say this man's a dangerous mafia leader? He looked so angelic while sleeping, an angel fell from above. She shifted under the blanket, trying to roll out of bed, but as soon as she moved, a strong arm sank around her waist. Work? If you forgot it, mister, then let me remind you. I have a whole tech company to run. Why? It's Sunday. Still not fully awake, his grip tightening slightly as if reluctant to let go. Cause I saw my hard-working husband, he works even on Sundays. So why should I stay behind? A chuckle left his mouth, his chest vibrated. So my wife's a little angry for not spending Sundays with her. That's your words, mister, not mine. So what should I do now? What do you think you should do, huh? After all these years, I think only a shopping trip will make my lady forgive this peasant of hers. Not bad. So this peasant is free today, as if my lady doesn't know already. She knitted her brows together. What do you mean? Ross was standing next to me when you called him asking about my schedule for today. He grinned at her. What? But Ross said you were not around? Anyways, I was supposed to become free today, even before your call. You are impossible, you know, right? Impossible? More like irresistible. He pulled her on top of him, her head resting against his chest, and he kissed the top of her head, his fingers gently threading through her hairs. Stay with me just a little longer, he murmured, his voice full of sincerity. While sighed softly, her frustration melting away as she closed her eyes, settling back into the warmth of his presence. She then whispered, "Fine, but only because it's Sunday." Chuckled, his fingers tracing circles on her back. "Now that's so generous of my lady." And in that moment, everything else faded into the background. It was just the two of them wrapped in the quiet serenity of each other's arms as the sunlight streamed softly through the window, warming their hearts with love that had weathered the storms of time and distance. Couple of hours later. Ryan was getting ready for their date in their walk-in closet. Her Spotify music shuffle was on, making the closet filled with soft music. She was occasionally singing the lyrics too. She was applying her skin tint after being done with her skincare when she heard the door of the closet got open. By the corner of her eyes, she noticed her husband entering, well dressed in his navy blue tuxedo, combed hair and golden watch. "Someone's looking hot, huh?" She complimented him only to hear him chuckle. "I was born hot, okay? Oh God, I married a narcissist." "Too bad, there's no way out now." "Who said I want a way out, huh?" Chuckling, he came near her and wrapped his hands around her slender waist, her A-line ivory-colored dress perfectly complementing his navy blue tuxedo. The song Good For You by Selena Gomez was now playing on the background. "What are you doing?" she murmured, her voice a mix of amusement and annoyance. He leaned his head against her shoulder, his lips brushing the soft skin of her neck as he hummed along with the song. "Just admiring you?" He whispered, his breath warm against her skin. His hands slid farther around her waist, pulling her even closer, his chest pressing against her back. "You look beautiful." "Ain't you trying to look good for me?" Though her cheeks were adorned with a soft pink hue, she shook her head. "No, I'm looking good just for myself." "Just for yourself, huh?" She nodded her head. "Liar." Her breath hitched slightly as his fingers pressed along the edge of her shirt, sending a shiver down her spine. "Now you wanna accept you were trying to look good for me?" "No, it's just for myself." Her heart raced as his hand slid down to the curve of her hips, his fingers slightly caressing her skin. She then murmured, her voice shaking slightly, caught between frustration and desire. "Then say it. Say that you are. How come you are so sure?" "'Cause my love, your favorite and go-to color is navy blue and other dark colors. But here you are wearing ivory, my favorite color." He nibbled on the back of her ear. "Okay, you win. You were right. I was trying to look good, not only for myself, but for you too." "Good. After all, I have ordered this navy blue tuxedo only for you," he whispered, his lips brushing against the delicate curve of her jawline. His hand gently pulled her back even more, molding her body to his. Unable to resist any longer, she turned her head slightly, just enough for their eyes to meet. The world seemed to pause, the beat of "Good For You" playing softly in the background, the words now a distant echo. He softened, and without another word he leaned in. His lips met hers in a so gentle, so full of warmth that everything else in the room faded away. It was slow, tender, the kind of that spoke of something deeper than just the moment. Wine's breath caught in her throat as she melted into him, her hands finding their way to his arms, holding on to him as if she might fall if she didn't. He softly, but with a quiet hunger, an urgency hidden behind the softness, as if he had waited for years. She clutched onto his hairs as if she too waited for years to devour him. Only after they were out of breath they parted away from each other. They attached their forehead to each other while breathing heavily. "I do want to look good for you. Let me show you how proud I am to be yours. Leave this dress a mess on the floor. Still will look good for you. We will get late, my love. I don't care." "Me neither." Saying this, he again took her lips in his, and the rest is history. Sometimes later, air of calm precision. Vine sat beside him in the passenger seat, her fingers tracing the outline of her phone as she scrolled through something on the screen. The soft hum of the engine and the occasional chime of the dashboard created an easygoing atmosphere. The excitement and joy in her voice was unmistakable when she finally spoke. "I have found watch for you which will not only go with the outfit we will buy for you today, but also will complement my dress and watch. I have well researched this on their online website." "Special day, huh? Seems like I am forgetting something." Vian just rolled her eyes hearing him. Anyways, today we will go to Blue Diamond Restaurant too after being done with mall. And there you have to open your wallet today. A chuckle left his mouth hearing her, whatever her highness wishes. Anyway, do I look crazy to you that I will miss a free shopping and lunch tip from my wife? No, not at all. Most crazy people are either silly or innocent, and you, my dear husband, are far from innocence. So focus on driving. Someone's hand is about to do some not so innocent things with my thighs. Again a chuckle left his mouth. He was saying as if that someone was not enjoyed by my not so innocent hand. No worries, my baby. After going home, first thing we will see how you can deny enjoying my not so innocent hand. He winked at her, which made her chuckle. Behind them, two black cars followed closely, their tinted windows hiding the men. They were always there, silent, vigilant, and a shadow that never stayed too far from their leader. But their peaceful moment wouldn't last long. Suddenly, the sound of screeching tires pierced the calm, followed by a flash of headlights in their rearview mirror. But before he could even react, the car swerved out of control, another vehicle barreling towards them from the opposite direction. The air was thick with tension, the threat looming closer by the second. Focused solely on protecting Vian, but there was no time to event. She couldn't even complete her sentence as he slammed his foot on the brake, swerving sharply to the left, but the other car was too close. The impact was sudden and the world seemed to explode around them. Vian! He screamed as the car lurched forward, the sound was scattering glasses to framing. He wanted to do nothing but to protect her from the upcoming damage. He quickly undid his seatbelt and reached across her seat, shielding her from his own form just as the car collided with theirs. The force of the crash shattered the windows, the glass raining down in jagged shades around them. He wanted to take her out from the damaged car, but his body felt too heavy to move. The only thing he remembered before closing his eyes was her closed already eyes, dripping on her face. He prayed that was not to be hers. Hours later, the room was quiet, with only the soft beeping of the heart monitor and the faint rustling of the curtains in the breeze. His body ached and he felt heavy. He looked down at his body, noticing the bandages and plaster on his right hand and arm. His whole back ached. It was difficult to move his leg. His right hand, Ross, was sitting by his bedside. Boss, you were awake. Trying to focus on Ross. What happened? My body... He tried to recall the past events, only bits and pieces came to his mind. He tried to get up but winced badly. Ross helped him. You have been through a lot, but you are okay now. You were in an accident. The doctors are doing their best. How long will it take to heal? The doctor took a quick look at the bandages and cast before replying. Your face and leg injuries should heal within a couple of weeks. The glass wounds on your back is deep. It won't take too much to heal, but there's high chance the scars will remain. As for your hand, it's fractured severely and you will need a plaster for at least 2 months. Heard doctor's words. By this time, he fully remembered what happened with him. With his wife, he started to feel restless. Where was his wife? Why wasn't Ross talking about her? My wife? Wagner, where is she? Is she okay? Without answering his questions, Ross thanked the doctor. Ross, you didn't answer me. Where's Wagner? Ross escorted the doctor outside. I am asking you something, damn it. Where's Wagner? He raised his voice after not getting a reply from Ross. Please calm down, boss. She is in a critical condition. He pushed himself up only to winch. I need to see her right now. He started to swing his left legs off the bed. Boss, you need rest. She's had a head injuries. Her condition is really critical. My wife's in critical condition and you want me to rest, huh? Pushing Ross away, Taehyung again tried to get up, but Ross' next word made him froze. Her parents are here with her. Her parents? A whisper-like voice left his mouth, whereas Ross nodded his head. When we took you both to this hospital, her parents were already here for checkup. You truly don't want to know how I kept my calm and made you admit here. It was absolute chaos. They are not letting me near Madam Wahin. Her OT room is surrounded by their guards. You being here there would only make things worse. I suggest you to go there after Madam Wahin get discharged. Ahead of him blankly. I haven't found out yet who attacked you, but I am on it, boss. It won't take too much. I need her to be okay. Rose gives him a reassuring pat on the arm. I know you do. We all do. Keep himself calm, so despite the lingering pain from his injuries and unsettling thoughts of her parents being present there, he headed towards Wine's OT. Ross, who gave up telling him not to go, trailed behind him. Is plastered, his face brushed, but his eyes are filled with one thing, urgency. He moved quickly down the hospital corridor, ignoring the protest of the nurses who tried to stop him. He approached the door to the operating theater, his heart racing. As he reached there, Wine's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, were standing just outside the door, accompanied by a couple of bodyguards. They immediately noticed him, their eyes narrowing in disapproval and disgust. All his eyes burning with frustration, but he kept his eyes low, barely meeting her father's eyes. I need to see her. She's my wife. I need to know she's okay. You don't have even an ounce of shame, right? Asking her if she's okay or not. Do you think being in an operation room is called okay? I am not here to argue, Mrs. Lee, so Please what? We keep our calm and let you do more damage to our daughter? After this, we won't let you destroy our daughter more. Closer, his voice raising, his patience running thin. She's my wife. I have every right to be here. You can't keep me away from her. The bodyguard stepped forward, blocking his path, their presence imposing and unwavering. Stop shouting, this is the hospital, not your workplace. I don't care what you think, she needs me right now. You are just standing here like it doesn't matter. Wine's mom was about to say something, but the OT light became green, signaling the operation was over. Soon over, the doctors came out of the Wine's room. Taehyung and her parents' full focus shifted on the doctors. The operation was a success. We were able to stabilize her condition. And he took a step forward, his hand reaching out instinctively, whereas her parents thanked Almighty. How's she? When will I can see her? The doctor looked at him gravely, his eyes flickering to Wayne's parents before answering. While the surgery was successful, we are concerned about possible memory loss. There's a high chance she will experience amnesia due to the extent of the head injury. It's still too early to tell, but we need to be prepared for the possibility. We are keeping her on observation tonight as she has not opened her eyes yet. We are quite hopeful she will open her eyes tomorrow. His breath catching in his throat as the news sank in. His legs felt weak and he gripped the wall beside him for support. Wayne's parents exchanged a brief, knowing look, but stay away from her. Hear any more of their words as his mind was stuck with the possibility of having amnesia. Next morning. The room was quiet, bathed in the soft morning light flickering through the curtains. Vine lay in the hospital bed, pale and fragile. Her breathing shallow, her head was bandaged, and there was traces or medical devices attached to her, monitoring her vitals. Her mother was seated beside her, holding her hand gently, her expression full of concern and love. Vine's father stood at the foot of the bed, a stoic presence, his arms near the door, his body stiff, his eyes fixed on her, barely able to contain his anxiety. There's a long moment of stillness before Vine's eyes began to flutter open, her face contouring with confusion as she slowly regained consciousness. She blinked several times, distorted. Her mother noticed immediately, her voice trembling with emotion. Vine turned her head slightly, her eyes heavy with fatigue. She looked at her mother first, her gaze unfocused, almost as if she didn't recognize the warmth of her touch. "Mom." Her mother's face softened and she squeezed Vine's hand. "Yes, it's me, baby. You are safe. You have been through a lot. How are you feeling?" Vine blinked again, her eyes darting around the room as she tried to make sense of her surroundings. Dad, where am I? You are in the hospital, Vine. You have had an accident, but you are going to be fine. Just rest, okay? Vine didn't respond immediately, her breath shallow and her eyes began to cloud again as if the reality around her hadn't fully sunk in. After a moment, she slowly turned her head back to her mother. "Hospital." Her mother brushed a few strands of her hair from Vine's head, speaking soothingly. "You were in an accident, dear, but don't worry, everything will be okay. We are here for you." A slight fear spread on Vine's face. "How's Coco, Mom?" That hedged when she asked about Coco. Her parents also looked at each other. They were about to answer her, but the doctor entered the room, his expression professional but with an unyielding concern. "Good, you were awake, Vine. How are you feeling?" "Tired, painful, thirsty, slightly nauseous." "It's okay. It will go away with medication. But can you answer some of my questions?" Vine nodded her head while her mom made her join the scene in front of him with anticipation, his strength becoming fragile with each passing second. "Do you know who they are?" he asked while pointing at her parents. Confused, Vine nodded her head. "My parents, Lee Jung-won and Lee Bitman." The doctor nodded his head, then pointed to. "Do you know this one?" Vine turned her gaze towards him. Was racing fast. He prayed relentlessly to not happen what he was thinking. Then again she looked at the doctor, and to his utter dismay, she shook her head. No. Grabbed the wall beside him tightly. He felt he would sleep any time. His head was feeling dizzy. His eyes started to burn slightly. The doctor again nodded his head, whereas Wayan was more confused. What year is this, Wayan? 2018?